Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? Welcome. Let's get a few of these started. Maybe make sure that this thing is running. Okay, we're up and running. At least they should be. Looks like we're running into some issues. What is going on here? What is going on here? Is this thing going on? What is going on? What is going on? What is going on? I'm not sure what's going on here. What's up? What's up? What is going on? Yeah, I'm trying to fix that fix now. Let me try something here. There might be some camera issues going on. Let me double check. Let me make sure. I'm getting this fixed now. Let me make sure it's not black anymore. Okay, there we go. Camera showing up now. If you guys can see me, let me know. Okay, we're good. We're good. Draft, I'm not going to lie. From my personal standpoint, it's not really that. It's highly anticipated for me, mainly because the Bears don't have a first-round pick, and I'm a diehard Bears fan. Okay, you can see me. Okay, that's good. That's good. I got this going on my Facebook as well. Let me double check and see if that's running. Okay, everything is going smooth. He says same. Makes things way more difficult. Yeah, it makes things a little bit more difficult to follow a little bit, especially when your team is not picking in the first round. But at the end of the day, I'll take Justin Fields over taking a first-round pick this year. At least we have our quarterback for our future that we believe that it's going to be QB1 for our future. So it's interesting to see who's going to be the number one pick. Of course, it's not going to be a quarterback. It's not a high quarterback draft. And Jacksonville picked Trevor Lawrence last year. So it's going to be interesting to see who's going to be the number one overall pick. I think Jacksonville is either going to take Aiden Hutchenson, or I think they're probably looking at Neal. They can use up they can shore up the line, in my opinion, because honestly, they need to shore up that offensive line to protect your number one QB, kind of like the Bears need to. So I think it's one of the more, I can say, I believe this draft, I think is one of the more unpredictable drafts that we're going to have in a while. We've had the last couple of years where some teams, you know what they're looking to pick, and you know where they're going to be, not where, but you know who they're going to pick, especially the last couple of years. You knew the number one overall pick way before heading into this draft. So I think this class is unpredictable as far as the top goes, because you don't know what team is going to go in which direction, and there's really not too much of a clear-cut, I want to say, bona fide top pick. Is a little bit more diverse as far as who can go where. Now, Jacksonville, this team needs a lot, even though they did basically spend a bag in free agency. So it's going to be interesting to see what team does what and who makes any moves, who trades. It's going to be a very, very, very interesting draft. So I'm anticipating to see where things go. What team is going to trade back, because there's been rumors of teams that could possibly trade back. And what team could possibly trade up. And as we have, Roger Goodell is at the podium right now, probably announcing the start of the draft. He does, who's that? Derek Carr, Darren Waller, and the great Marcus Allen. I keep forgetting it is in Las Vegas. I'm not going to have the audio up too loud. I don't want to get demonetized or nothing. This is going to be a very, very interesting draft. Roger Goodell always gets booed. He has some questionable decisions as far as him being a commissioner. Oh, just to warn you guys, I'm probably going to be eating at this point because I had a long day of work, rushed back home, make sure that everything was set. But if you see me eating, just know I haven't really eaten today. So, matter of fact, I'm about to eat right now. I'm starving. Draft hasn't started yet. Ice Cube! Okay, they got my food right. My guy Cube. Ice Cube. Ice Cube. Ice Cube is goated, yeah. Ice Cube is goated. Ice Cube is absolutely goated, yep. And funny thing is, I was talking about the Friday series at my job today. So, oddly enough, Ice Cube is leading the team. So, hey, I ain't mad at it. Got my man Cube. Well, Jacksonville Jaguars, you're on the clock. Apologies if I talk a lot. I have issues. I keep it quiet. I understand that. I have those same issues myself. Jacksonville is on the clock. We've got 9 minutes and 33 seconds and counting. I'm watching the ABC version of the coverage. So it's interesting to see what Jacksonville is going to do at number one. It's interesting to see what Jacksonville is going to do at number one. Jacksonville is on the clock. It's a couple of different ways. I think they will go. They're probably going to go either offensive, defensive lineman. I believe he says he's watching the NFL Network version. I mean, I think it's going to be either. I could be. It's between. They do have a lot of picks. I think it's between Evan Neal, in my opinion, or Aiden Hutchenson. There's been talk about Trayvon Walker from Georgia as well, but I think it's going to be either Evan Neal or Aiden Hutchenson. Aiden Hutchenson compared well with Josh Allen, who they just gave a fifth-year option to. And Evan Neal is, I believe, one of the better tackles, if not the best tackle in this draft. And they could use more protection to protect young Trevor Lawrence and build this team moving forward. So either way they go, I don't think they're making the wrong pick. But I'm just interested to see if they're going to get the game-changing pass rusher for the defense, or they're going to get the left tackle to help protect their young quarterback. So it's interesting to see where they're going to go with this. Yeah, 7 minutes on the clock. Now, Detroit, I think Detroit they have a lot of ways they can go as well. Now, Detroit, shut up, Brittany. Shut up. Look, I have an Aiden today, okay? Leave me alone. Hopefully this drag doesn't drag into 10 p.m. Well, I hate to warn you, but it will. It will. Because I don't think these teams are going to make quick picks. A lot of teams are still questioning what they're going to do, possible trades. Teams probably could look back. So this draft, I think, is probably going to go into 10:30, 11 o'clock. I hope it doesn't myself because I got work in the morning. But hey, if you got the dip, it's all good. I understand it. We got lives. I understand it. I ain't mad at you. Evan Neal, that's showing. That's why I said these teams probably know what they're going to take. I just don't like they wait to the very last second. They usually give 10 minutes on the clock, but it usually goes longer than that. You know, they got to get the stories in. They got to get all that in.
This is going to be a crazy draft.
It's not quarterback heavy. So I'm interested to see what team believes in. I think it's only 2 first-round quarterbacks in this part of the draft. Either Pickett or Willis. And if Desmond Ridder falls, I'm not going to predict, but I can see a scenario where Seattle moves up back into the first round to get Ridder, if they are believers in Desmond Ridder. Because at this point, any team, if you believe that there's a quarterback on the board that you believe in and that can be your quarterback for your future, you go get him. So it's interesting to see where he's going to end up landing. Willis might go to Detroit. I would not be shocked if that happens. I would not be shocked if Malik Willis goes to Detroit, even though I believe the best situation for him could be Pittsburgh. Could be Pittsburgh. Actually, a good situation from either one of these quarterbacks is Pittsburgh, because you have Trubisky, who I think can flourish, and you still have Mason Rudolph on the roster, I believe. I'm not 100% sure yet on that, but you have him on the roster, so he's not going to be rushed to be a successor or a franchise changer right away. So he doesn't have that pressure on him. It's immediate pressure to be the guy. So Jaguars pick is in. I think they're going to go Aiden Hutchenson with this. I hope a Michigan guy is not number 1 overall. That might make my blood boil. As an Ohio State fan, that will make my blood boil. The point Seattle might jump up. If they have a quarterback they can believe in, I think they will. Because to be honest with you guys, I personally don't believe, and I don't believe in Drew Lock. Here we go. So, who are they going to select? Trayvon Walker from Georgia. Wow. So they get an edge rusher, and Trayvon Walker goes number 1 overall. I'm not shocked because it was 3 ways they've been rumored to go: either Walker, either Aiden Hutchinson, or Evan Neal. Now Detroit, I don't think they're going to go offensive lineman. They had Taylor Decker. They just gave a contract extension to be their left tackle. So they're not going to go. Jags select Trayvon Walker, defensive end from Georgia. So he is the number 1 overall pick. So they get their edge rusher. They get the guy that can come off the edge and help with Josh Allen, who I think could be a nice pass rushing duo. Jaguars, they have a lot of holes to fix. This team is still in rebuilding mode. So they get another edge rusher to pair with Josh Allen, which I think could be a very solid move. So they take him over Aiden Hutchinson. Hoping Chris doesn't go to Green Bay. I'll make a team draft up if I have to. You must be talking about Chris Olave. I hope Chris Olave doesn't go to Green Bay either. That's going to be hard for me to root for Chris Olave. I hope he doesn't go to Green Bay either. Neither him nor Garrett Wilson. I don't want my Ohio State guys infiltrated back Green Bay. I just don't. To be biased, I don't want them going to Green Bay.
So to get Trayvon Walker,
it's interesting to go see where Detroit goes next. It's interesting to see where Detroit is going to go next. Now, Detroit, I think they're going to take Aiden Hutchenson and get the home Michigan kid. They get another pass rusher, which I believe they need badly. They need pass rushing. They don't need a quarterback. I don't think a quarterback is worth taking this high in this year's draft, I believe. You know, the Lions could use somebody to develop behind Jared Goff, because Jared Goff, I don't believe, is the guy for them, especially with this team in a state of a bit of a flux. But it's interesting to see where the Lions go. The Lions pick is in as quickly. The Lions pick is in. So I think they're going to, as I eat my food, I think the Lions are going to go Aiden Hutchenson with this pick. And they're on the board. They're all right. Okay, so at least that's moving a little bit quickly. So yep, the Lions go Aiden Hutchenson. So the Lions get their pass rusher. It's interesting to see where Houston can go too. Houston has a lot of holes to fix. They can go offensive line. They can go quarterback. They can go defensive line. They can go. It's so many of ways that Houston can go. Now, Houston, for sake, the Texans, I'm surprised that they didn't have Baker Mayfield thrown in that trade. So it's going to be very interesting to see where they end up. But it is very interesting to know that, wow. So he gets to stay in the state of Michigan and become a Detroit Lion. Hey, I'm gonna be biased. I'm glad that Michigan guy didn't go number 1 overall. That would have made my blood boil. That would have made my blood boil. As an Ohio State fan, that would have made my blood boil. They beat us and the guy goes number 1. Yeah. To be honest, I'm not interested in some of the stories that they tell. So you got Aiden Hutchenson going to the Lions. Trayvon Walker goes number 1 overall. This draft is already a bit interesting. I didn't think the Jags are actually going to go with Trayvon Walker, but I was wrong. I believe Aiden Hutchenson was a more solidified pass rusher, but I guess the Jags believed in Trayvon Walker a bit more. So Texans can go line here. Texans can go edge rusher. Why they got to show the Ohio State clip of him? Why? It's interesting to see where this team is going to go. It's very interesting. This one makes, I'm not going to lie, this makes the draft a little more interesting is you don't know where teams are going to go. It's not really bona fide as far as who's going to go where. So it makes it very, very interesting. He had 14 sacks, a consensus All-American. I think Houston's probably going to go. Houston can go offensive line here. Houston can go. They can go Thibodeau. They can go receiver. Like I said, I don't think a quarterback is probably going to get taken maybe into Carolina because the Jets got Zach Wilson. The Giants coming up. They have Daniel Jones, but I think they could possibly trade for one. So it's interesting to see where the first quarterback gets taken off the board. It's very interesting to see what quarterback gets taken off the board first. So the next couple of picks, so you're going to have the Texans are picking now. You have the Jets, the Jets after the Texans. You have the Giants. And I don't think the first quarterback has a chance to come off the board until 6 at Carolina. The Giants are picking after that. Atlanta could take a quarterback. Seattle at 9, maybe. And that's about it. It's teams as far as quarterback goes. It's between the Panthers, the Falcons, and Seattle. Maybe Detroit later on, but I don't think Detroit is going to go quarterback, especially with paying Goff all the money that they're paying them. But he thinks Kenny might go first. I believe, okay, the Texas pick is in. They select Derek. Wow. Woo. So they go corner. The Texans go corner. The Texans go corner. They select Derek Stingley Jr. Wow. So the Texans select Derek Stingley Jr. So they get the corner. So we have our defensive player. So this draft is defensive heavy at the top. They have Trayvon Walker going to the Jaguars. Then you have Aiden Hutchinson going to Detroit. Now you have Derek Stingley Jr. is a member of the Texans. So the first 3 picks we see go defense. Last year, the first 3 picks were all quarterbacks. So that tells you this draft, I think, is deep on defense and is deep at the wide receiver position. Quarterback, not so much with this draft. So they go corner. I was predicting they probably could get a pass rusher, but with Hutchinson and Walker off the board, they have Laramie Tunsil at tackle. So they get a corner. It's not a bad pick. The Texans need a lot of things too. So shout out to my guy, Lovie Smith, who's the coach now with the Texans, former Bears coach. I'm not mad at it. I thought the Texans was going to go in a different direction. I thought they probably could get a wide receiver. I didn't think they were going to go quarterback because they believe in Davis Mills, I believe. Or they probably see that this class is not really good, a heavy quarterback class. Lovie Smith is forever a Bears legend. You got that right. I've always supported Lovie Smith, whether he went to Tampa, whether he was at Illinois, well, except when he played Ohio State. And when he was the defense coordinator last year for the Texans. So I've always been supportive of Lovie Smith. I still think he was wrongfully fired by the Bears. I would just get that out the way. I still believe he was wrongfully fired. I'll just say that much. I believe he was wrongfully fired. So we have the Jets on the clock next. I think the Jets will probably go. Me personally, I will go wide receiver here if I'm the Jets. Get some weapons with Zach Wilson, whether it's Garrett Wilson, whether it's Jahan Dotson, I don't think Jameson Williams is going to go this high, mainly because of the torn ACL. And we all know teams, wherever it comes to health, they always drop guys a little bit lower, whether it's ACL injuries or anything like that. So I think the Jets, they should go wide receiver to get some weapons outside with Zach Wilson. They got Mekhi Becton at left tackle if he can stay healthy. I believe he's going to be a solid left tackle for him. So I think the Jets should go get some weapons with Zach Wilson. Let me look at this Jets depth chart right quick. I don't want to. Let me see what this Jets roster has as far as wide receiver goes. They have Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, which I don't think they overpaid for him a little bit. Braxton Berrios is solid. They just signed C.J. Uzomah. They have Mekhi Becton, Laken Tomlinson in the offensive line. George Fant, I think, is solid. So I really believe that the Jets need to go wide receiver here, to be honest. They should go wide receiver. Robert Kenley, welcome to the stream. Sucks Bears don't have a pick until tomorrow. It does, but, hey, we got Justin Fields with that pick, so I can't be too mad at it. I don't think this draft class would have been – it's not really a game-changing draft class, if you want to be honest. Mainly on the offensive side of the ball, outside of receiver, of course. And that's a position the Bears do need. But they do have their franchise quarterback. And I've always said, if you believe in a franchise quarterback and you really need him and you believe in him and you believe he's your future, you go get that guy. So I am not mad at it. I don't care who the quarterback was. Well, besides Mac Jones, that's the one I didn't want with the Bears last year. But I believe if you see your quarterback that you want for your future, you go get the guy. So sucks the Bears don't have a pick until tomorrow, but I think they probably might trade back, add more assets. That's just my opinion. It's interesting to see where the Jets are going to go. I believe they should go wide receiver. Looking at this depth chart now, they have a solid defensive front, mostly at the middle linebacker. Quincy Williams had a solid year last year. Jordan Whitehead is a sign-on, so I believe the Jets could go and should go wide receiver with this pick. In my opinion, I think the Jets should go wide receiver here. Get you some weapons to pair with your young quarterback. Corey Davis, I don't think is it. Elijah Moore, he has potential to be a solid player. And you have Braxton Berrios as well, who's a very good slot wide receiver. So I personally believe this team needs to go with a wide receiver. Is Goodell going to the podium yet? The Jets pick is in. And I believe, yep, this is Goodell on his way to the podium. It's interesting to see who the Jets select with this pick. Wow. So they get Sauce Gardner. So these first 4 picks are defense. I believe they should have went wide receiver. I believe the Jets should have went wide receiver here, to be honest. I think you need more weapons to pair with Zach Wilson. I believe they should have went. This team should have went with. Wow. So the first 4 picks of this draft is all defense. They bit Sauce Gardner. He's a really shutdown, lockdown corner, which can help any defense. I just believe you need to get more weapons around. He says, poor Zach. Hey, I agree with you, poor Zach. Poor Zach. I feel bad for Zach Wilson. They should have got more weapons around him. Corey Davis, I don't believe is it. Elijah Moore can develop into a very good player. Braxton Berrios can develop into a very good player. But I just believe you should have gotten more weapons to go around Zach Wilson with this draft pick. Sauce Gardner has potential to be a very good shutdown, lockdown corner. So I'm not necessarily too mad at it. I'm not a Jets fan either, but just looking at what you can develop with your young quarterback, I think you should have gotten more weapons. Get more weapons for Zach Wilson to go to at his disposal. And I just believe that wide receivers should have been in Pickett this draft. So at this point now, we are 5 pick. We are in the 5th pick with the Giants, and we still have yet to have an offensive player getting taken. I think the first 4 picks last year were also all offense, so it's a reversal this year. Robert Kidley says, fun fact, Walter Payton has more throwing touchdowns than Johnny Manziel. That's good. That's a good one. That is a good one. What are they doing? What are they doing on here? Oh, they're doing some little magic crap. Okay, so the Giants are on the clock now. Giants pick is in. The Giants pick is in. So the New York Giants pick is in. Let's see where the Giants are going to go. Now, the Giants, they could go. They can go receiver here, too. Let's take a look at this Giants depth chart. They have Galladay, Sterling Shepard, and they've been rumored to have Kadarius Toney and trade rumors. So the Giants, they can either go somebody to help on their offensive line, or I think they can go corner. I mean, not corner, wide receiver. It's interesting to see where our first offensive player is going to be taken off the board. So Giants pick is in. Now we're just waiting on Roger Goodell to come to the board. Not the board, the podium. So we got a fan announcing the pick. I think they should go wide receiver. Wow, so we got another defensive player getting taken off the board. Wow. So they select Kayvon Thibodeau. Wow. Wow. So they get Kayvon Thibodeau. I still think they should have went receiver as well, but because Kenny Golladay didn't do a thing last year. Sterling Shepard had some injuries. Even though the Giants do have, I think, a great offensive mind and Brian Daboll as head coach, it's just interesting to see that they didn't go offense. They could use a pass rusher to pair along with Leonard Williams, and I think Dexter Lawrence is a solid player, but I did not think they were going to go a defensive pick here. Not a bad one, to be honest. I would have gone wide receiver. I would have gone wide receiver for them as well, especially with the wide receiver class this year as being a very good class. So it's interesting to see. I love it. I love it. I love this. The Make-A-Wish. I love that. I love it. I love it. So they get Kayvon Thibodeau. He had some injuries last year as well, but it's interesting to see where is the first offensive player going to get taken off the board. You do have Carolina still on the clock now. And this is where I believe this draft is going to change and go to offense. I do believe this is the position where the draft could change and go offense. Wow. So to get Kayvon Thibodeau as number 5, I believe somebody has to get one of these receivers. If a team needs a receiver, Carolina is not going to get a receiver. They got Robbie Anderson. They got DJ Moore. So I believe they have solid receivers. But this is a place where a quarterback could be the first pick. We could have our first quarterback off the board. This team is solid at wide receiver with DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, and Rashard Higgins. You have Christian McCaffrey still there. You could go Evan Neal. You could go Evan Neal with this team. They have a very solid defense. So I think Carolina is the spot first is where you're going to see the first quarterback getting taken off the board. This possibly could be the quarterback pick. And if I was Carolina, I just might pick Malik Willis. I think Malik Willis has more upside than a guy like Kenny Pickett. In my personal opinion, I would select a quarterback here for the Panthers. So the Panthers are on the clock. It's interesting to see where Carolina could go. I don't think they're going to go defense. I just don't believe this team is going to go defense. Carolina is better off getting Baker. I believe that too. But they both, Darnold and Mayfield, were drafted in the same year around the same area, so they're paying both of those guys the same amount of money. So I probably wouldn't go here at least. Even though Baker Mayfield makes sense because I believe he can do more than Sam Darnold can. But they did tell Sam Darnold, I saw in the report, that they could possibly take a quarterback with this pick or in this draft as a whole. So I'm very interested to see where Carolina is going to go with this pick. I think they should go. I think they probably could go quarterback. If any team needs a quarterback now, I'm not going to say right now, but I think if any team needs a quarterback to groom outside of Pittsburgh, it's Carolina. If any team in this draft needs a quarterback to groom outside of Pittsburgh and Seattle, I'm going to add Seattle to that list too, it's probably going to be the Panthers. So they're on commercial now. So, what do you guys think about these first few picks in this draft? First 5 picks, they are all on the defensive side of the ball. Out of the teams, I think the Giants possibly could have gone maybe wide receiver, but I think they got some solid receivers there. So, and I think that Brian Dable is a guy that probably could get more out of them than Joe Judge would ever done. So, okay, they're back. So, Carolina's pick is in. Carolina's pick is in. I think they have a very interesting pick they can make here. So the Panthers pick is in. Now we're just waiting for Commissioner Goodell to get to the board. So Carolina's pick is in. I think this should be Malik Willis. And, okay, we have Goodell at the board. So they go the offensive tackle route. So it's seeming like the receivers will fall. Shout out to you, Gerald Holloway. Thank you for tuning in. All defense, maybe wide receivers will fall, and it's looking like that so far. So we do have our first offensive player off the board, and it's Akeem. I'm probably going to butcher this last name. So we do have our first offensive player taken. We do have our first offensive player taken in this draft. So it is this is really crazy. Because I believe the Panthers could have went quarterback here. And it was rumored they were already saying that they were going to take quarterback in this draft. Wow. So Evan Neal is still on the board. You still have wide receivers still on the board. Robert Kinley. So Green Bay is definitely picking up a wide receiver then. I believe they should. Out of any team that should get more weapons around a guy like Aaron Rodgers, especially with Devontae Adams' departure. But this is going to be this is shaping up to be a very, very crazy draft. Excuse me. So we have the Giants up now. They have this would be the original Bears pick. If the Bears have their pick right now, this will be where the Bears will be picking. But since we traded that pick for Justin Fields, which I'm fine with, this is where the Bears will be picking. And the Giants pick is in. Now they went defense with the first pick. And I believe they could go offense with this one. They went Thibodeau with the first pick they had with the fifth pick. Now they back on the clock with the seventh pick. And now they have, I think they can go offense. And he says, sadly, yeah, they're going to go wide receiver. I believe that too. Yeah, I think they're definitely going to go wide receiver with this pick. So we haven't had any trades happen yet. Every team has stayed where they've been so far. I believe at this point, Atlanta and Seattle, it could be the first quarterback taken. Atlanta and Seattle could be where their first quarterback is taken off the board. Says Akeem is a monster, though. He'll do well with the Panthers. Well, I think he could do well with the Panthers. And as they're showing the trade, as in the Bears trade last year, which the Bears gave up this year's first, last year's fifth, and this year's fourth to get the 11th overall pick to get Justin Fields. So I am very intrigued by this draft, though. I will say that. So they go tackle. The Giants go tackle. They get Evan Neal at tackle. The Giants get Evan Neal at tackle. I'm not mad at this pick. They do need somebody to beef up their offensive line. I am not mad at this pick. This is a solid pick for the Giants. Somebody that can show up and beef up their offensive line to help protect Daniel Jones. I believe, hey, they do have solid weapons. They have Galladay, they have Sterling Shepard, and they have a guy like Kadarius Toney, if they don't trade him, I believe could thrive in this Brian Daboll offense. And Ricky Seals-Jones is solid at tight end. You do have Darius Slayton. He's been productive at the wide receiver position. So I am not mad at this pick. The Giants need somebody to beef up their offensive line and help protect their quarterback, which is Daniel Jones, and they have Tyrod Taylor as the backup. I'm not mad at this pick. I, for one, I'm not mad at this pick. I'm not mad at it. Now, we have the Falcons on the board. It's interesting to see where the Falcons can go. They could take receiver. They could take a quarterback. I think they're probably going to go quarterback. No. I take that back. They possibly can go wide receiver with this pick. As my connection is something wrong. I think this team is going to go in the route. I think they're going to get wide receiver help because you do have Calvin Ridley suspended for the year. They already lost Julio last year. You did trade Matt Ryan in the draft. I mean, in the offseason, and you have $40 million in dead money, so you're not going to have money to go spend a wide receiver. You have Zacchaeus, you have Damiere Byrd, but outside of that, you don't really have a lot. So I think this team is going to get a receiver here. They could go quarterback as well. So they do have two directions that they can go. He says it seemed like something went to that pick for the Giants, but I think that's a good pick for them. This team, I think the Falcons could go wide receiver here. This might be the spot where the first wide receiver is getting taken off the board. I think this is the point now where your first wide receiver is getting taken off the board. Atlanta has to get them some help around Mariota. Atlanta has to get this team. They have to get him. They have to get them help. Atlanta has to get help around Mariota. It will be fine if they took a quarterback here, especially to develop, and they're not at any track to win. So it's not a big, huge pressure on a quarterback to go to the Falcons and going to develop here. So they could go the route, I believe, of wide receiver, and they can go the route of the quarterback if they believe that there is one to take right now. And I still think Malik Willis is the best quarterback in this draft. Kenny Pickett, I don't think he has as much upside as Malik Willis here. So I do believe this is the point where our first wide receiver is going to be taken off the board. And if the Falcons don't take wide receiver here, I'm going to be a little bit disappointed. My brother is a Falcons fan as well. Shout out to my brother, Don. But he is a Falcons fan, so I think the Falcons should go wide receiver here. With Calvin Ridley suspended for the year, you don't have too much help around them. They should go receiver here. I would be surprised if they don't. It could go quarterback though. But if I was in the Atlanta Falcons position, I don't believe there's a franchise changer in this draft. And Mariota could be productive. Let's see. Goodell is at the board. They get Drake London, so they do go wide receiver here. Smart pick for the Atlanta Falcons. You get a big wide receiver that can help with Marcus Mariota. That was a very, very good pick for the Falcons. That is a very, very good pick for the Falcons. I like that pick here. You get Drake London, who's very productive. He can go up and get those 50-50 balls. I really like this pick here. I love this pick for the Falcons. I love this pick for them. So the Giants select Drake London. I'm happy with this pick. They've solidified more of their wide receiver position. And then when Calvin Ridley is coming back, you have the duo of Drake London and Calvin Ridley to compare with any quarterback that you're going to select in probably next year's draft. So very, very, very smart and good pick for the Atlanta Falcons here. I like this pick for them. That's a good one. Drake is productive. He is extremely productive. I like this pick for the Falcons. He's a very, very productive player. Very, very productive. So I like this pick for them. This, I believe, could be one of the more valuable picks in this draft. Because you think about the Atlanta Falcons situation, I don't think, like I've said before on this channel, I don't believe there is a franchise-changing quarterback in this draft. And then on top of that, you have a guy like Drake London who can come in. You pair him with Calvin Ridley when he comes back from his suspension. You get immediate help with Marcus Mariota at the quarterback position. You get immediate help in Drake London. Because of the Calvin Ridley suspension, he's going to be able to flourish and show what he has in year one. So I love this pick for the Falcons. This, I believe, is a home run pick for them. He says, wonder when a quarterback is going to go. Seattle's at 9 now. Seattle is at 9. Maybe a quarterback can go here. This is a spot where the first quarterback can be taken off of the board. This is a spot where the first quarterback could be taken off of the board. Seattle has Drew Lock, but I firmly do not believe he is the guy for them. They can use another guy. Geno Smith is still on the roster, but he is a backup at this point of his career. So you get a quarterback here. You let him develop. You still have very good wide receivers and DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Even though you could use a pass rusher with this Seattle defense, but I think Seattle should go in the route of a quarterback. And you also acquired Noah Fant, who's one of the better young tight ends in this league in the Russell Wilson trade. So this is a place, I agree with you. This is a place I would select Malik Willis here. You get a successor to Russell Wilson. You get a guy who doesn't have pressure on him to succeed, even though you have Drew Lock and Geno Smith. He does not have to play right away. I don't believe any of these quarterbacks in this draft is going to be ones that play right away. So if you pick in this point, this is a point where quarterback could be the best option. This is a point where quarterback could be the best option. So we have 2 offensive players that's gone off the board right now. You have 2 offensive players that have gone off the board. I know that Broncos fans are finna be like, no regrets even after this pick. That's true. I would go no regrets too. You get Russell Wilson out of it, so and Russell Wilson still has a lot of productive years left, so I would go no regrets as well. If I was a Broncos fan, and I know one personally, shout out to you, I wouldn't have no regrets either. So let's take a look and see what we have with the depth chart of the Seattle Seahawks. This is a place where I think our first quarterback could be taken off of the board. Seattle's pick is in. So the Seahawks pick is in. Seahawks pick is in. I think I think personally they should go quarterback here. Personally, Seattle should go quarterback here. So this was originally Denver's pick. They acquired it in a trade for Russell Wilson, which was all 1,000% a smart move. Broncos gave up a lot to get him, but when you have a quarterback that can go, I think you go for him. Kenny could go here as well, but I would do Willis personally. I would agree with that. Pickett could go here as well, but I personally would draft Malik Willis. If the Seahawks are looking in the direction of a quarterback, like I've said before, Drew Lock is not it. Drew Lock is not the guy. I haven't believed in Drew Lock since Denver drafted him. He was supposed to be a first or second round talent. He didn't slip. He slipped into the 3rd round, I believe, and with 2019. So I don't believe Drew Lock is the guy in Seattle. Even though let's see, Roger Goodell is on his way to the board right now. They get a tackle? Wow. That was a surprise. That was a surprise. They select Charles Cross of the Mississippi State at the left tackle position, which Seattle's offensive line is always need boosting. So this fills a need. This fills a need, which I can't be too mad at. This fills a need that the Seahawks have. They have a not so great offensive line, even with Dwayne Brown there. So they get Charles Cross. They get another They get another tackle who can help with an offensive line. So we have the Jets here, and this is the pick where I believe the first wide receiver is going to be taken off the board. They believe in Drew Lock. I personally wouldn't. I don't believe in Drew Lock. I personally do not believe Drew Lock. I'm surprised they did not go a quarterback here, but like I said before, this quarterback class isn't very good as far as we have in years past. So I don't think, if you don't believe in a quarterback, don't risk it in taking him, even if you need him. If you don't believe in it, don't take him. So Charles Cross is the pick here for the Seattle Seahawks. The Jets are on the board. Seattle picking up Baker Mayfield. I believe in that. That makes a lot of sense. I will go for that. But it's interesting to see what's going to happen with this whole entire Baker Mayfield situation, which I did make a video on this channel about. And I believe Carolina and Seattle were the two places where they could possibly go. I understand going for a tackle, but Drew, I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. I don't believe in Drew Lock. He's just, to me, he's more of a backup than he is a starter. He's almost in the same area as a guy like his backup. He's in the same area as his own backup, Geno Smith. What's up, Drew Sports Network? He says, "What up, man? What do you have taken? That's taken at 39." I really like the receiver out of North Dakota State. I think it's Christian Wilson, if I'm not mistaken. I think the best option for the Bears is to go receiver and tackle with our two second-round picks. I think they should go receiver and go tackle, but it all depends on who's on the board because the wide receivers in this draft have dropped. The wide receivers in this draft have dropped. So, and the Jets pick is in. The Jets pick is in. But I really believe that the Bears, Wilson might go right here. I would take him. I would believe that too. A wide receiver should go here. A second wide receiver off the board should go here. Drake London was the first wide receiver taken for the Falcons, and that was an excellent pick for the Atlanta. So I would take a receiver here as well. If I am the Jets organization, I get more weapons for Zach Wilson. As my TV is going out. There we go. If I am the New York Jets organization, I take Mr. Zach Wilson's receivers. I take a receiver here. Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Jahan Dotson. Any of those guys would make sense here. And the Jets pick is in. And from the way they're doing the camera angle, Cadell could be on his way to the board. To the podium. I keep saying board. Garrett Wilson. Shout out to my Ohio State guy. Garrett Wilson is the pick here. I love it. I love it for him. I love it for him. So they get Garrett Wilson, my guy, my Ohio State Buckeye guy. He's in a New York Jet uniform. You get an excellent weapon to pair around Zach Wilson. He says, Garrett, good pick. That is a very good pick for them. And I'm not just saying it because of my biasness for Ohio State Buckeye players, but this is a very good pick for the New York Jets. You get a guy who can separate. You get a guy who's a very physical wide receiver. You get a guy who can go up and get the football. I'll be honest. I've watched every game of his. As me personally being an Ohio State fan, I've watched every game of his. He has speed. He's strong. He can do a lot after the catch. He's going to play well with Zach Wilson. So you have a Wilson to Wilson combination. It just clicked in my head. Wilson to Wilson. I love it. Shout out Garrett Wilson being a number 10 overall pick. I love it here. I love it for him. This is going to be a very good fit for him. You get another excellent weapon around Zach Wilson, which you can never have enough weapons, especially with the young quarterback. You get a wide receiver who can do a lot. So that is my guy. Garrett Wilson is the pick here. I love it. I am an NIU fan, but I see that Garrett could do some cool things. Zach Thorne and Garrett, that is a vision right there. I love this pick for the Jets. I love it. I love this pick for the Jets. So the Saints are moving up. We have a trade. The Saints have traded with Washington, the Commanders, to move up to the 11th overall pick. We have our first draft day trade. The New Orleans Saints have moved up to select, who knows? They could go wide receiver here. They could use a wide receiver. They could use a quarterback. Their defense I think, is very good. Their defense is very good. They could either use another solid receiver to go along with the comeback of Michael Thomas, or they could use, if they believe in the quarterback, they could go in the quarterback here. But we do have our first trade. I'm waiting on them to show the details of this trade, but we do have our first trade. We have our first trade. This is a very interesting move. Who is New Orleans believing in so much that they move up to 11th overall? Who is it that the Saints believe in to move up to number 11? Who is it that they believe in? I am very interested to see. Who is it that they believe in this much to move up into the 11th overall pick? What guy is it that the Saints believe in so much that they're going to move up to number 1? This is very, very, very intriguing. Who are they going to select with this pick? This is very interesting. There's a very slim chance that this happens, but I really don't think the Bears don't trade up. I don't know what the Bears are going to do. I don't think the Bears are going to trade up. Maybe it's because of the PTSD from Pace, but man, please don't, Paul. So I don't think the Bears are going to move at any point. I just don't. I just don't think this is a place where the Bears are going to move up. This is going to be a very interesting pick. Who are the Saints believing in so much that they move up to draft him now? Who are they believing in so much right now? This is it. This is what I love about this year's draft. Who are they moving up to select right now? This is intriguing. Who do the Saints believe in so much that they moving up to this pick right now? Who are the Saints believing in? The Saints are taking their time right now. I would too. Who is it that the Saints believe in? I think the next commercial break, I need something to drink. My mouth dry. But who is it that the Saints are believing in? They gave the 16th. Okay, so we do have details coming out now. They gave their 16th pick, which was the Saints. They gave the 3rd and 4th round picks. Wow. So who is it that they believe in to give up 3 and 4? Who is it that they want so badly that they move up to select whoever? Who is it that they want? I'm very intrigued because I haven't heard many rumors about the Saints trying to move up. And on top of that, the only Saints need, I will say, is probably wide receiver or quarterback. They have a solidified defense. I think they're probably going to go the route of a quarterback here. This could be a spot. Even though they did sign Andy Dalton in free agency, they have Jameis Winston back. You still have Taysom Hill, who I don't believe is a quarterback. Who is it that they want that badly? Now I am interested, very interested in this pick. I am very interested in this pick. What's happening, Lee? Who is that? Who is it that they want with this pick? Okay, go on with the talking. Go on with the talking. Go on with the talking. Traded for the 11th pick just like the Bears did last year. That is true. That is true. Yo, what's up, Lee? Thanks for tuning in. Who is it that they're going to be? I'm interested now. Okay, go on with this talking. Go on with this talking. Who's the pick? How you doing? I'm doing good. I am doing good. Long day at work. Long day at work. But I'm doing good. How are you? I am doing good. Come on with this pick, man. No one cares. Who is the pick? He says, bro, they talking. I just think of HaHa Davis when I hear double words. Who is this pick? Okay, so, all right, here we go. My guy, Chris Olave. Let's go. So they move up to get Chris. My guy. Another Buckeye off the board. Let's go. I love it. Great pick. Great pick. I love it. Great pick. So back-to-back picks are Ohio State wide receivers. I love it. I love it. Back-to-back picks are Ohio State wide receivers. Let's go. I love it. Both of my boys are off the board. Olave is now New Orleans Saints, along with another Ohio State Buckeye wide receiver, Michael Thomas. And so the Vikings have moved up to 12. We have another trade. The Vikings have moved up to Detroit's 12th pick. Another trade. But first, congratulations to my boy Chris Olave. Congratulations to my boy. Both of my Ohio State boys are off the board. Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave back-to-back. I love it. I love it. I love to see my Ohio State guys prosper. And thank God Green Bay didn't take either of them. No, that's another bonus. Green Bay didn't take either of them. I'm happy. I can root for the Jets. I can root for Garrett Wilson now, and I can definitely go back to rooting for the Saints after Drew Brees retired. I can root for both of my Ohio State Buckeye receivers and Michael Thomas, and along with a guy like Chris Olave. And you have Marcus Lattimore at the corner position, another former Ohio State Buckeye. I'm happy for my guy. I love it. Ohio forever. I'm with you on that one. I am with you, Ohio State Buckeye for life. Suck it, Green Bay. No Chris Olave for you, and I love it. I love it. No Chris Olave for you. Take this fat L, you Wisconsinites. My guy, Chris Olave, is now New Orleans Saint. So that's the guy they believed in. Hey, I believe in him too. Apologies for the outburst. Apologies for the outburst. I'm just happy to see my Ohio State guys go, and I'm happy to see that they're not a member of any of the Green Bay Packer team and not a member of a Green Bay Packer team. So this is a great one. So now you give Jameis Winston a new weapon with Chris Olave. I love it. I love it. I love it. Excuse me. I love it. I love it. So the Lions pick is in. I love it. I'm happy for my guy, Chris Olave. So we have Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson going from back-to-back picks, 10th and 11th overall, respectively. I love it here. The Chargers will play the Chiefs in Week 2 of the 2022 NFL season to kick off Thursday night prime football. That's news I can care less about right now. So the Lions pick is in. Where are they going to go here? I saw something that said Minnesota. It did say Minnesota on the screen, but I guess it wasn't an official trade.
So the
Jamison Williams, another former Ohio State wide receiver, he goes to the Lions here. So back to, if you want to be technical, Jamison Williams is a former Ohio State Buckeye wide receiver. So he goes to Detroit, which also they can use wide receiver help. You know, he came from Alabama, but still recovering from the torn ACL that he suffered in the national championship game. The Lions swapped the second and the third. The Eagles just traded with Houston. Justin Fields and Chris Olave both get drafted. I love it. Yeah, that make both get drafted at number 11. What's your opinion on Elon Musk buying Twitter? I don't know yet. I'll have to wait and see for that one. I'm not sure about that one yet. I'll wait to see how that goes. Should the Bears trade up for a first-round pick and draft a wide receiver or offensive lineman? The answer to either of those is no and no. The Bears don't need to give up any more assets. We're already devoid of them, especially in this year's draft. You still need to accumulate more picks to help build this roster. So the answer to that question, I believe, is no. The Bears should not move up to the first round. If they really believe in the guy, maybe. But you already have your top 4 wide receivers off the board now, even though this is a wide receiver good class. But no, the Bears do not have the draft capital to move up to number 1 or the first round. So my answer to that question is no. You don't need to give up any more assets than what you already have. So you need to anything. The Bears should acquire more assets, and the Bears should not move up. I agree with you. We don't. Bears do not have the capital to move up, nor should they move up. So the Eagles, 13, their pick is in. They could have went wide receiver as well. So the top 4 receivers are gone off of the board. Keep Fields, keep Justin Fields, Roquan, Mooney, Komet, and he also added keep JJ. Everybody else can go. I don't know if I'm with that one. I want Jamison Williams as a wide receiver. Well, Jamison Williams is now off the board. He is now a member of the Detroit Lions. Jamison Williams is off of the board now. He just got selected by the Detroit Lions. And he's coming off of a torn ACL in the national championship game. So, as much as I would love any of those former Ohio State Buckeye receivers to be a Bear, in reality, I knew it wasn't going to happen. I didn't think the Saints were going to move up to select them, but so one of my co-workers from my job, I can't stand y'all. You better not wear that damn. I'm wearing a Bears hat just to piss you off. We need David Montgomery, Khalil Herbert, Tevin Jenkins. Yeah, that's what. I believe that too. Shout out, thanks for coming in. See you later. So now the Eagles are moving up to 13. The Eagles pick is in. So the Eagles trade. So the Eagles official trade news is that the Eagles trade with the Texans for number 13 overall and for 15th and a 4th rounder and 2 5ths. So what is Philly believing in to move up 2 spots and to give up a 4th and 2 5ths? What What player do the Eagles believe in that much to move up 2 spots and give up a 4th and 2/5? What player is it that they believe in that much to move up that high in the draft? So we have 3 receivers back-to-back off the board with Garrett Wilson. We have Chris Olave, both my Ohio State guys. And we have that Jameson Williams is a member of the Detroit Lions. Elijah Finnegan, what's happening? Thank God Olave is not a Packer. That was pretty relieving. I'm with you on that one. Shout out to Anthony Canchola, safety from Notre Dame going to Philly. They need all the defense they can get. I can agree with you. Kyle Hamilton would be a very solid pick for this Eagles team. So I would not be mad at them if they take Kyle Hamilton here. I thought Kyle Hamilton may have gone a little bit higher, but we all know the premium on pass rushers and the premium on receivers at this point now and the premium on tackles. So if you get those first, then I think those teams are going to take those first. Safety, I believe the Eagles can very well use a safety. I wouldn't be mad if they had Hamilton. These teams are all doing Ryan Pace style moves. I can agree. I can agree that a lot of these teams are moving up, and they're giving up a lot to move up. They're giving up a lot to move up. The rapper 10,000 says, "What offensive lineman do you see us going for?" I think with our second round pick should be used on a linebacker though. First, I previously said, I'm not too familiar deep with this draft class. I haven't really done too much homework, to be honest with you. So I am not going to sit here and act like I know what I'm talking about as far as who could go there. But I wouldn't be surprised they got an old lineman. And linebacker, I don't think so. I don't think the Bears should use it to pick on a linebacker, especially with our needs on the offensive side of the ball. So at this point, I don't believe that the Bears should be using any picks on a linebacker. Not at this point right now. So, David Wicks, shout out to you. The Packers don't need Olave. They will find someone you hadn't heard of and make it into Devontae Adams all over again. I don't believe so. They do need receiver help, especially with the trade of Devontae Adams, but I'm not going to say they don't. They didn't need Olave. Olave is a very good deep threat. He's very smooth in his routes. So, he has deceptive speed, so I think he would have been a good fit for the Packers, just looking at it from the football sense, but me as a biased sense, no. Eddie Jackson is going to have to play better this season. 1,000,000% agree with you. I 1,000,000% agree with you. Eddie Jackson needs to play better this year. Some people are connecting Jordan Davis to Philly. They can use some interior presence. Fletcher Cox, he's getting a little older in age. They can use somebody on the interior defensive line. A lot of their defensive pieces are starting to get a little bit older in the tooth, especially in their front seven. So that could be a pick for them as well. Brian Pace should be fired. He already is. I think he's with Atlanta now in some role. Philly has a quarterback and wide receiver problem. I love Jalen Hurts. He's not a problem. Wide receiver, they could use some help. With Khalil Mack gone, we need another linebacker later on. I don't think they might need another one later on, but not in the second round, especially with all your offensive problems. Okay, so they're going to do a lot of talking right now so I can answer some of these questions and thoughts. Elijah Finnegan says we can use help on our secondary for sure, but right now we should be focused on putting Fields in the best positions to succeed. I agree with you 1,000%. This is a year the Bears are not going to be a very successful football team. The Bears are not going to be a successful football team this year. This should be the year you grab pieces and you put help around Justin Fields. You put him in an offensive system to help him develop, and you get pieces around him. That should be the focus. Winning is not going to happen. The Eagles select. So the Eagles select, they get Jordan Davis. The Eagles select Jordan Davis. So the Eagles select Jordan Davis. That is a good pick. They need interior help with their defensive line. The front seven for the Philadelphia Eagles is getting a little bit older. So Jordan Davis is a very, very good pick here. He's big. He's physical. So this is a very good pick for the Philadelphia Eagles. Very good pick for the Eagles. So the next, you have Baltimore at 14. They can definitely use receiver help. They can use some help, I believe, maybe opposite corner outside of Marlon Humphrey. So Jordan Davis is a very good pick. Yep, Jordan. 8 or 10 wins at best for the Bears, but we need to trade for the white pieces. I hate to bust the bubble, but the Bears are probably going to win 6 or 7 games next year. I don't believe they're going to be an 8-win team, and I definitely do not believe the Bears are going to be a 10-win team. This team, this roster, it does not scream 10 wins. This roster does not scream 10 wins at all. It doesn't. It just does not scream 10 wins. The Bears roster is not at a point where you can get 10 wins out of it. In my opinion, maybe if a miracle happens, I just personally believe this Bears roster is not a roster where you can scream 10 wins out of it. I just don't believe that. They denied Baltimore. Baltimore could use some interior presence. What kind of picks do you think our GM is looking for Quinn? I don't think they should be trading Quinn. This is not a point where you should trade Robert Quinn. It's not that point. If you trade Robert, I mean, the Bears are in a rebuilding mode, but I just don't believe they're going to trade Robert Quinn. It's just not happening. David Wicks, Ryan Pace should be fired as many times as you could do it without killing him. Wow. Maybe 8-8 if we manage to beat the Vikings. Well, we have 17 games, but where you just come in at 8 or 9, my bad. I think 8 wins is a ceiling for the Bears. That with staying healthy. 7, 8, maybe. The Bears have a tough schedule this year. And his team is in rebuilding mode. Ryan Poles has refused to say rebuild, but it is a rebuilding roster. The Bears have a rebuilding roster. Realistically, I see the Bears winning about 6 games at the very least. I see us winning 4 games, and that is if we get hit hard with the injury bug. Realistically, 6 or 7 wins for the Bears is basically what I'm saying too. 6, maybe 7 wins. You probably can squeeze 2 wins in Detroit. You might be able to sneak a Minnesota game. Matter of fact, let me look at the Bears' opponents for 2022. Just so. Bears' opponents for 2022. Everyone here has heard about Bernard Raymond, offensive guard from Central Michigan, I think. I see him as a steal. I want him because of his pancake blocking. He will go late because people overlook MAC teams. Now, that is true. People do overlook MAC teams outside of the skill position, so I do agree with that. Bleak Ox says, I will address wide receiver immediately and go offensive line as well, especially in the later rounds, seeing how deep this offensive line class goes into this draft. I agree with you there as well. David Wicks, I think we should go get interior defensive linemen and offensive linemen and a cornerback, then worry about the rest next year. We are not going anywhere but home this season. I agree with the part that we're not going anywhere but home, but I still think the Bears should get another receiver, especially with the Byron Pringle arrest, and we're not sure what's going to make of that. And there could be a possible suspension coming from that. So wide receiver could be a spot where the Bears could go this year. No, we're not winning no 10 games up for real. Yeah, it ain't going to be a very good season, but that's okay. We're not trying to be competitors right now. I agree with that. I agree. This Bears franchise, it's not in a state where they're winning 10 games. It's not. I don't know what. It's not winning 10 games. The Bears roster is not made for 10 games. It's just not. It's not a 10-win football team at all. It's just not. It's just not a 10-win roster. So the Baltimore Ravens are at the board. Kyle Hamilton is a good pick for the Baltimore Ravens. Kyle Hamilton is going to happen to the Baltimore. That is a good pick for them. They can use some safety help. Kyle Hamilton is a good pick for the Baltimore Ravens defense. This is a very good pick. He's a very physical safety, and he fits that Ravens culture. He fits that Ravens moxie. So I think that's a very good pick for this Ravens team. God knows what's going to happen to Byron, which is why I believe the Bears are probably going to look even harder at wide receiver, especially with the whole Byron Pringle arrest that happened probably a few days ago. Praying for a clutch receiver to slip through first. I don't think it may not happen with teams with the premium that is put in the wide receiver position now, and with teams still needing wide receiver help. It might not be a scenario where a team slips. George Pickens could be a guy that could slip. I've heard about him possibly could being out of the first round with the injury he's had. Even though they're going like candy in the daycare, the wide receivers are definitely going like candy. The Texans are on the board, and their pick is in. It's interesting to see where the Texans are going to go. Jamison Williams, Bama, Garrett, Ohio State, and one from Georgia are the best choices. Jamison Williams and Garrett are off the board, and George Pickens could slip into the second round. So can Christian Wilson from North Dakota State. So those two can have possibilities of slipping. So I do believe that at this point in time, that is a good pick for the Bears to go wide receiver. Anthony Canchola says, agree, we just don't have the talent yet. The worst thing that could happen is Chicago having a great first year like Nagy had. I could agree with that. I can agree with that. If the Bears have a great first year, that could change the entire plan that Ryan Poles has as far as building this roster throughout the NFL draft. So at this point, I would agree with you. The Bears can, if the Bears have a great first year, especially with this new head coach and Matt Eberflus, and new GM Ryan Poles, the Bears have a great first year, which I don't envision happening, especially with a lot of the things and questions that this Bears team has to answer. So let's look at the Bears as Roger Goodell comes up to the board. I will go back to that. I will go back until, let's say, the Houston Texans on them. So the Texans select A guard, Kenyon Green from Texas A&M. The Texans get Kenyon Green from Texas A&M. So they get a guard to beef up their interior offensive line. Texans have a lot of holes. Let's just face it. The Texans have a lot of holes. I do agree with the fact of them getting offensive line. The Texans have a ton of holes. So getting Kenyon Green, it's not a bad pick here. Excuse me. Another Texas player gets to stay at home. So let me catch up back with these comments. Why hasn't anyone taken Malik Willis? This quarterback class is not a very good one. And if you don't believe in the quarterback, you don't take him. Simple as that. Especially in the high picks. You don't believe in the quarterback, you don't take him. A lot of people doubt Justin Fields, but I think if we surround him with weapons, he's going to be a superstar. I 1,000,000% agree with you there. David Wicks, since he's a Bear, they are going to ban him 3 complete seasons. Hollywood Brown just went to – really? Hollywood Brown is traded to the Arizona Cardinals? No. Is that real? Really? That can't be true. The Ravens traded Hollywood Brown to the Cardinals? Wow. Wow. The Ravens just gave Marquise Brown to the Cardinals. Wow. So what are the Ravens going to – wow. Wow. Hey, love. Wow. Which player spells steal to you that you want the Bears to draft is still on the board? I'm not going to say a specific player. I'll just say a specific position. Wide receiver, offensive line for the Bears. Yep, it's real. The best wide receiver to Hollywood Brown. What player is a steal to you aside from wide receiver help? Bernard Raymond, offensive guard, CMU. I haven't really heard about him too much. I probably made a mistake. I haven't done really much draft research. But the Bears need to get anything to help on an offensive line. I don't care who it is. The Bears need to get anything to help on the offensive line, and they need some receiver help. Baltimore might be in the hunt for a wide receiver now. They definitely are. Marquise Brown is sent to the Cardinals. So you pair Marquise Brown with the possible healthy DeAndre Hopkins with Kyler Murray. That could be a very – wow. Wow. That is a very, very surprising trade. That is a very, very surprising trade. Marquise Brown to the Arizona Cardinals. That is a very, very surprising trade. Oh, wow. That changes a lot now. That changes a lot now for the Baltimore Ravens. You just drafted Kyle Hamilton. Now you trade Marquise Brown to the Arizona Cardinals. That is a very interesting trade. I had to come back. I love football. I'm with you. We all love football. They better not draft a running back or a tight end. He's talking about the Bears. I agree. I would like an offensive lineman or would mind another corner if there is a gym there. I can agree with that as well. The Bears can use some corner help outside of Jalen Johnson. The rapper 10,000 says the trade is a major red flag. Once again, definitely, I agree with that as well. That trade is a major red flag. That is a major red flag. Hoping for Alec Pierce or Christian Watson to the Bears at receiver. I can agree with both of those. So, another blockbuster trade has just came in. The Tennessee Titans are planning to trade A.J. Brown to the Philadelphia Eagles. Breaking news. The Titans are planning to trade wide receiver A.J. Brown to the Philadelphia Eagles. So, wow, we had two major wide receiver moves, and it already crazy off season. Okay, so we have the Commanders at the pick. Commanders and so they take Jahan Dotson from Penn State. The Commanders take Jahan Dotson from Penn State. So they get them some receiver help outside along with Terry McLaurin, which is another former Ohio State Buckeye. I love that. This draft. See, this is why I love the draft so much. This is why I love the draft so much. So let me get back to these comments. So as I just got official trade news, the Ravens traded Marquise Brown to the Cardinals in exchange for the number 23 pick in this year's draft. Wow. So the Cardinals are moving to the 23rd overall pick for Marquise. So the Ravens are moving to the 23rd overall pick for Marquise Brown. So let's get back to some of these comments. I'm going to answer some of you guys' questions. Anthony Canchola saying, but I want an offensive line fix. Can't just draft players without picking specific ones who fit your system. I'll make sure the Bears trade back before they grab a running back. What team did you like that has the best touchdowns? I wouldn't say the Bears. The Bears don't score that many. That's a hard question to answer. Buffalo. I would say Buffalo. A.J. Brown, yes, that is crazy news. I follow enough college football to know who stands out as a pro player. I don't follow it enough, but I do follow it a good amount. I don't follow it enough outside of Ohio State. Wow, A.J. Brown. I agree with that. That is crazy. That is a wild trade. The Chargers pick is in as well. So the Chargers select Zion Johnson, a guard from Boston College, which the Chargers don't really have too many needs at this point. I think the Chargers at this point is going best player available, and they get a guard to help protect Justin Herbert. So I'm happy with that for them. This is a crazy, crazy draft. This draft is crazy. So we have the Tennessee Titans now on the clock with the whole entire A.J. Brown trade. This is a crazy draft. Anthony Canchola loved me some draft day. I agree. Why did they trade AJ? I believe it's contract extension talks. That has to do with contract extension talks. And the Titans are probably not willing to pay him the wide receiver money. What do the Chargers do? Well, they pick the offensive tackle. A lot of these teams are making interesting decisions. I agree. Washington was cool with whatever receiver fell to him, which Jahan Dotson is a very solid player. Go alongside Terry McLaurin. I was wondering if any of my NIU boys are going anywhere. I know we're a MAC team, but we got some stuff. I'm surprised Baker Mayfield hasn't been traded yet. I agree with you. I'm surprised that hasn't came. I'm sure Khalil Mack will have a good time in LA. I agree. The several Illini players who are in this draft class. The Jets are live. I'm not a big fan of the Jets right now. Even though, well, they just got Garrett Wilson, so I'll be paying attention to them a little bit more. Have the Bears picked yet? No, the Bears don't have a first-round pick in this draft. Crazy to say, but the Titans could go quarterback. Don't know how much they believe in Ryan Tannehill. They paid him a big extension after 2019, and he's in the third year of that, I believe, right now. So trading A.J. Brown is a surprise to me. You don't keep him with weapons around a guy like Tannehill. A.J. Brown is a surprise, but I can understand why A.J. Brown was looking for a contract extension. Him, Deebo Samuel, and DK Metcalf all have the same agents, and I think they're all going for top wide receiver dollars. So this is a crazy draft. Best guess is Kenny Pickett goes to the Steelers. It's either Kenny Pickett or Malik Willis. To be honest with you, I think it's going to become a Steeler. The Titans on the pick now. I don't believe they go quarterback. I just don't believe they go quarterback with Tannehill. This team is still in a position to win now, and selecting the quarterback is not going to help your roster, especially after the trade of A.J. Brown. Ryan is good, but he's not going to win you a Super Bowl. That, I believe, is true. The rapper, okay, they responded to other comments. If we want a running back, I will pick running back from Michigan. I don't think the Bears need to go running back. The Bears do not need to go running back with David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert. The Bears do not need to go running back at all. Yeah, I mean, we gave up our first round pick in last year's draft for him. So technically, that's where our draft pick went. So, but these two trades of Marquise Brown and A.J. Brown are absolutely blockbusters. Marquise Brown, we had zero inkling of him in a trade. A.J. Brown was hinting at possibly wanting out of Tennessee due to the contract negotiations. So I think the Eagles are going to pay him. And as far as the Cardinals go, they get another weapon outside of DeAndre Hopkins. This is a crazy, crazy, crazy draft, and I am all here for it. This is crazy. So I haven't even been able to talk about the Chargers pick of Zion Johnson, which helps the interior of their offensive line. And the Chargers, I believe, went best player available. And the Chargers, I don't believe, have many holes. They do add J.C. Jackson. They added Khalil Mack. You already have Keenan Allen. You already have Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, Justin Herbert, and Rashawn Slater, who's a very good tackle. So I believe they just beefed up a little bit of the interior of their offensive line. They have Corey Linsley at the center spot. The Chargers team, I don't believe, have a lot of holes. So I just believe they went with the best player, and the best player that fits them is just to help beef up the interior of their offensive line. Anthony Canchola says, keep Trubisky and try Fields. No, I don't believe in that at all. I'm loving this draft. I am too. This is a crazy draft. That's why I love the unpredictability of it. Panthers should pick Sam Howell. He's talking about Sam Howell. I think that could be a good move for them as well. They do need a quarterback. Which one is more of a shock? Hollywood or AJ being traded? The answer to that question, I believe, is Hollywood. Hollywood was more of a shock to be traded because Hollywood, it wasn't really meant to talk about him being traded. He needed to be a weapon there for Lamar Jackson, and Lamar Jackson has been devoid of wide receiver help outside of Hollywood for pretty much most of his career. So I would have said that, honestly, Hollywood was the biggest shock of being traded. A.J. Brown had rumors already around him with this contract negotiations, hitting with the Tennessee Titans. And speaking of the Titans are on a podium now. So they get Treylon Burks, the wide receiver out of Arkansas. So they get a weapon to replace A.J. Brown, and we get Treylon Burks out of Arkansas. Once again, he gives them more receiver help. So that is just, this is unpredictable, and I love it. Like you said, the draft was totally unpredictable. We still have no clue what's going to happen, and I absolutely love it that it is an unpredictable year. Last year was more predictable with more quarterbacks being taken off the board. We still have Dash Newsome. Yes, we do. He is going to have some help as well, but I still think they need to go add another receiver. Rapper double at quarterback. I love it. No. Bears fans hated Trubisky so much that they wanted him gone, and they will regret the move. I agree with you 100%. I even made a video of why Bears fans hate him so much. But I think that had more to do with Matt Nagy is where he went bad. I also have a video about that as well, of why he failed as a Bear. I am sorry the Bears don't have a first-round pick. My fault. It's all good. They wanted to replace AJ with the pick. That is 100% true. Were you surprised by the Falcons pick? No, not at all. I expected them to go wide receiver with Calvin Ridley being suspended the entire year. Cordell Patterson is more of a hybrid role in your offense. You don't have much outside of Calvin Ridley, and you needed help for Marcus Mariota coming in with this offense. So Drake London for the Falcons was an excellent pick. It was an excellent pick for him. A.J. Brown is a little overrated. I'm not going to go there. He's very solid when healthy, so I'm not going to say overwhelming. Damn, wide receivers are falling off the board. Yes, they are right now. It's a premium for wide receivers in this league. So wide receivers are falling off of the board crazy right now. It will be hard to replace Allen Robinson in this draft class. Personally, we don't need a replacement for Allen Robinson. You don't need anybody to go and fill that role. Allen Robinson didn't even have a good 2021 season. So you just need receivers that are going to complement this offense and complement Justin Fields. Even though we don't know what this offense is going to look like just yet, you need somebody that can fit around Justin Fields. Point blank, period. I see you, United Busso. I'm not going to post that comment, but I see what you're saying. That might be coming soon. Yeah, I think Nagy's coaching was bigger than the issue of Mitchell Trubisky's abilities. He might be a good fit for the Steelers. I agree. I made a video predicting that he would become a Steeler before he even signed the deal. That is going to be a very, 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 very good fit, I believe, for Mitchell Trubisky and the Steelers. And I just hate that Nagy's coaching basically kind of ruined him. Mitch had abilities, but Nagy changing the entire offense from 2018, and even happened later on during that season where the offense started to get changed. So we have details. We have details on the A.J. Brown trade. The Eagles are giving A.J. Brown a 4-year, $100 million deal that includes $57 million in guaranteed dollars. So he is getting that $25 million per year deal that he wanted. A.J. Brown is getting that $25 million a year deal. With the 4-year, $100 million, that includes $57 million of his deal guaranteed. That is Hey, I'm all for players getting your money. That is all for players getting your money. Okay, Bleak Ox, I've had this comment up. I haven't read it yet. Finna be a New Orleans fan for taking Chris Olave. That has been my second team, with Drew Brees being one of my favorite players ever. And now you have 3 Buckeyes with Michael Thomas. You have a guy like Michael Thomas. I don't know why his name bleeped me. Marshawn Lattimore. Let me slow down. Michael Thomas, Marshawn Lattimore, not Chris Olave, all 3 Ohio State Buckeyes on the Saints, and I love it. So Saints are coming back to being my second team. I'm going to be rooting for them. Changing offense isn't always good. I don't believe that's necessarily true, especially when you have a coach like Matt Nagy who doesn't know how to develop quarterbacks. So I believe a change for Justin Fields can be great. I don't agree with that part. Sometimes for a young quarterback, it can be bad, but when you leave in Matt Nagy, it's always a good change. Dalton signed with the New Orleans Saints. Dalton is now a member of the New Orleans Saints. We basically swapped quarterbacks. Trevor Siemian was a Saint last year. Now he's a Bear. And Andy Dalton is a member of the New Orleans Saints. I've seen a lot of comments now that is talking about Dalton. Dalton is a member of the New Orleans Saints, guys. Dalton is a New Orleans Saint. Dalton is no longer a Chicago Bear. I would just clear that air now. Andy Dalton is a member of the New Orleans Saints, and Trevor Siemian is the Bears' backup at this point. Nick Foles is still on the roster, but I believe at some point the Bears need to trade him, and the Saints are on the board right now. The Saints select Trevor Penning from Northern Iowa. They get a guy to replace Terron Armstead, who left in free agency to sign with the Miami Dolphins. So they get Terron Armstead's replacement. So the Saints select Trevor Penning, a very physical tackle from Northern Iowa, to help replace Terron Armstead, who left in free agency to sign with the Miami Dolphins. That is a very good pick for them, I believe. I think Matt Nagy was trying to run Mitch out of town. I can actually agree with you to that at some point. Matt Nagy just wasn't the guy. He just was not. Matt Nagy was just never. And 2018 was a fluke. 2018 was a fluke. 2018 was a fluke. It was more carried. 2018 was more carried by the Bears defense than anything, if you want to be honest. And it just dawned upon me that we are at the 20th overall pick, and yet there are still no quarterbacks that have been taken. So there are no quarterbacks that have been taken. Malik Willis and Kenny Pickett are still on the board, and we're at 20 with Pittsburgh right now, which I think could be a spot where one of those 2 quarterbacks can be off of the board. So we are at the 20th overall pick. The Steelers pick is in. Give me a little. Let's see comments. The reason why I say that is he wouldn't utilize his running abilities. I agree with you 100% there. I would agree with you there. So this is a crazy day. So we are 19 picks into the NFL draft, and there are 6 offensive linemen and 6 wide receivers that have been selected. Those are 2 positions that the Bears need help in. 2 receivers have been traded this evening with A.J. Brown and Hollywood Brown. Both of those have been positions in need for the Chicago Bears with wide receiver and offensive line. Willis finna hear over the phone, ready to be a Steeler. I believe so. Even with Trubisky signing, Mason Rudolph, he's had some time to prove something, and he hasn't. So I think this is a spot where a quarterback can go. I'm interested to see. Green Bay hasn't made any move for a receiver. Matt LaFleur has stated that is a position in need. So this is a very interesting draft. I'm all here for it, and I love it. It is orange juice. It's orange juice. Brother needs something to drink. I need to be hydrated. So, Steelers pick is in. We're waiting on the Steelers pick to happen. I believe it's going to be one of those two quarterbacks. So we see that the Bears have not picked. The Bears aren't picking yet. A lot of questions have been about the Bears. Rightfully so as a Bears fan here. The Green Bay front office is brain dead. I don't know what the Green Bay front office is doing, but there's a reason why a lot of players have left Green Bay. I will just say that. I believe the reason Aaron Rodgers has something to do with it. The whole Aaron Rodgers saga has something to do with it. But I think it's a deeper problem with the front office versus just being an Aaron Rodgers situation alone. So I do think the front office has something to do with him leaving. So with Pittsburgh pick is in, and it looks like Roger Goodell could be heading towards the podium, which Franco Harris, one of the greats, one of the NFL's greats. I think he's probably going to announce the Steelers pick. And he looks like his mind is blown. So I think this may be a quarterback. The Steelers do need offensive line as well. So Franco Harris is going to announce the Steelers pick. Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett is a Pittsburgh Steeler. So we have our first quarterback off of the board. He gets to stay right in the same stadium as a Pittsburgh Steeler. So we do have our first quarterback off the board, and it is Kenny Pickett staying in Pittsburgh and getting a Steelers uniform. Yeah. I had a feeling the Steelers were going to take a quarterback here, even with the signing of Mitchell Trubisky. the Kenny Pickett is going to stay in Pittsburgh and remain a Pittsburgh guy, and he's going to go from college and pick to now he goes as a Steeler. New England is next. Kenny Pickett is now a Pittsburgh Steeler. We have our first quarterback taken off of the board, even though he's not going to start right away. Mitchell, I think, is a starter. And at some point, I don't think he plays early. I definitely don't think Kenny Pickett plays early. I think they get him a little bit of assurance of course, Trubisky, but this is it's a good pick for him. I would have picked Malik Willis myself. I think Malik Willis has bigger upside than Kenny Pickett, but I still think that this is a good move for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You get yourself more quarterback help, post Big Roethlisberger era. I just have a feeling that Mitch's play, let's see when we get to these comments right. Mitch's play will have something to say about that. I can agree. Biggest wide receiver trade so far. Cooper to Browns, Hill to Fins, AJ to Philly. All three of those, I don't think none are bigger than Devontae Adams going to the Raiders. All three of those are good trades, but I don't think none is bigger than Devontae Adams leaving the Packers and going to the Raiders. Because he did want his money, and he took less money with the Raiders to leave Green Bay. So I would have to say the league's best receiver being traded, Devontae Adams, is now a Raider. I think that was the biggest wide receiver trade so far this offseason. So now Kansas City is on a board. It's been a trade. Kansas City is on a board, or were they always on a board? Kansas City is on a board now. He knew he was missing one to ask the question. It's all good. But I think I'll say this. I think Devontae Adams is the biggest surprise, but right there, number two, is Hollywood Brown being traded to the Cardinals. That just leaves Lamar Jackson a little bit less to work with. Even though Rashad Bateman has a very good chance to be a very good receiver in Baltimore, I will have to say that one is the second biggest surprise. AJ Brown being traded, I honestly, I'm not surprised by that one. Tyreek Hill is, I think, right there at third or could be second, because that just takes away a lot from Patrick Mahomes. Oh, yeah. Matt Nagy is a Kansas City Chief now. Yeah, I feel bad. Mark Andrews just became a bigger target, as he already was. So, wow. It just still it's mind-blowing that Hollywood Brown is traded with the lack of weapons that the Ravens have at wide receiver. It's just mind-blowing that they traded him. Even though we're selecting what are the Ravens going to do now? They select Kyle Hamilton, and right after the pick of Kyle Hamilton was announced, the trade showed up. So what are the Ravens going to do at wide receiver now? Kansas City Chiefs pick is in. Green Bay is coming up. Put on my gas mask. I'm lactose intolerant of the team. The Titans got Bobby Woods, so they did trade for Robert Woods. Thanks for reminding me of that. I did forget of that. He is coming off of a torn ACL, but he's a very solid receiver. They did. Yep. You are right. The Patriots have traded to the Chiefs. So the Patriots move back as they always do in the draft. So the Chiefs have the Patriots pick now. So they get a corner in Trent McDuffie, which I believe has been one of the weaker spots of this Kansas City Chiefs defense. They get a corner in Trent McDuffie, so they get some help at their position, which this defense has changed. This entire roster for the Chiefs is starting to change, with Tyreek Hill being traded, Byron Pringle no longer being there, Tyrann Mathieu is gone. This shores up the cornerback spot for the Kansas City Chiefs. They do need help at that position. Juan Thornhill did have a solid season for him. So that just shores up more help for the corners for the Kansas City Chiefs. And now we have those damn Green Bay Packers on the board. I think this is the most intriguing pick because of me being a Bear fan. What are the Packers going to do? A lot of the top receivers are gone. And they need receiver help. Marquez Valdez-Scantling is now gone. You have Devontae Adams is now gone. Equinemius St. Brown is now gone. He's a Bear now. So what are the Packers going to do at wide receiver? You have Aaron Rodgers, but who is he going to spread the weapons to? I'm going to make Green Bay take care of it. How that would be funny. They told us immediately if they want the piss. that would be funny if the Packers win defense with the wide receiver help that they need. And the Packers have never taken a wide receiver in the first round. The Packers have not taken a wide receiver in the first round. So it's going to be very interesting to see where the Packers are going to go at this, with them needing a lot of wide receiver help. It is going to be interesting to see where this Packers roster is going to go now at the wide receiver spot. Wide receiver, I believe, is the Packers' biggest need as we stand right now. It is the biggest need for this franchise. So where are they going to go? So they haven't taken a first-round receiver since Javon Walker in 2002. Sorry for Green Bay to pop the. I wouldn't. I don't know what they're gonna do. I hope. Well, Chris Olave isn't there, and they was rumored to be trying to look at Chris Olave. So where are the Packers going to go? Roger Goodell is headed to the podium right now. And they went linebacker. They could use some help at linebacker, but they still would just not select the wide receiver in the first round. So they select Quay Walker from Georgia. Interesting. Interesting. They did. They have Rashawn Gary, who's had a better 2021. The Ravens have traded their pick to the Buffalo Bills, so now the Buffalo Bills are on the clock now. So what? The Ravens move back. So they get a solid inside linebacker that can use for the Green Bay Packers defense, but wide receiver is still their biggest need. You were right. You told me linebacker. They select the linebacker. Packers mess it up as usual. I can agree. They love them some linebackers. They got Rashawn Gary, and they did. I think Sedarius Smith was no longer there. So they go linebacker. So the Buffalo Bills move up. They trade with Baltimore. So who are the Buffalo Bills going to take? That, I believe, is my sleeper pick to win a Super Bowl or be a Super Bowl team. I'm just not going to pick the Chiefs at this point. I didn't pick them last year, so I think the Buffalo Bills can win the AFC, and I'm saying this right now. So Baltimore traded back. This has been a very interesting draft. This is why I like those drafts where there are unexpected. I like the unexpected points of draft. I love it. It's unpredictability. Anthony Canchola, bro. Rogers is like, what the? Yeah. I can agree. So Buffalo is now moved up to 23. What are the Buffalo Bills going to do? Rogers is going to ask Greg Jennings next to come back. Greg Jennings is done. He's got his bag, so he's not leaving Green Bay. Yeah, he's got his money. This is a very interesting draft. I love unpredictable drafts. I don't too much like when drafts get to the point where it's stagnant, when you know what player is going to go where. This has been one of the more unpredictable drafts in recent history, especially with the lack of depth at quarterback. You had a lot of wide receivers and offensive linemen go, which is a premium in today's NFL. You had some pass rushers go, which is another huge premium in today's NFL. Of course, quarterback is a premium, but a lot of teams have made their moves prior to the draft as far as quarterbacks go. So this is intriguing. It is very interesting, and I love when the points of the draft get like this. I love it. I just love those points where it's unpredictable. I love the unpredictability of the draft. So we have the Bills now. Of course, they're showing commercials. So we are 2 hours and 30 minutes in. So the Bills pick is in. It seems like Roger Goodell could be heading to the podium. So Malik Willis is still in the green room. And I don't think he could possibly be taken right now. Because you have Dallas that doesn't need a quarterback. The Ravens don't need one. Titans, maybe. Buccaneers, maybe. If they go away from Kyle Trask, who they picked last year. You have Green Bay, don't need one. New England, they have Mac Jones, Kansas City. So Malik Willis may fall out of the first round unless a team believes in him that much, which possibly be Seattle or Carolina. So the Bills get them a defensive back to pair along with Tre'Davious White. And the way that the NFC playoffs went for the Bills, they needed a corner. So they get a corner carrier, Elam from Florida, to help pair with Tre'Davious White, which they needed, especially looking at how the AFC divisional playoff round game went. The Bills needed quarterback help. They needed corner help. So this is a very good pick for them. They believed in Elam, which they need corners. Like I said, they have Micah Hyde at safety, who's a very good player. And they needed somebody at the corner spot. That was a glaring hole. We've seen it in the AFC divisional round game. And he goes, this is probably for the Green Bay Packers. I don't know why they draft the linebacker. They're fine on defense, which I could believe they could. Yeah, the Packers. The Packers, I'm not sure. I'm just not sure.
Yeah, hey, excuse me.
So the Dallas Cowboys are now on the board. What route are they going to go? I think they could go linebacker. They could probably maybe go offensive line, maybe receiver, maybe. I'm not sure what route the Dallas Cowboys could go right now. So the Cowboys on the board. Who are they going to take? They could take a linebacker, in my opinion. This is very interesting. I love those drafts where they're unpredictable. I'm not sure what the Cowboys are going to do here. So the best available players right now, you have Jermaine Johnson, defensive end out of Florida State. You have Daxton Hill out of safety out of that team up North Michigan. Nakobe Dean, the linebacker from Georgia. Devin Lloyd, linebacker from Utah. And Malik Willis, the quarterback out of Liberty. And the way the first round is shaping up now, I believe Malik Willis may just fall out of the first round. Malik Willis may just fall out of the first round unless the team trades back up. Because the rest of this draft board, you do not have a team that is in need of a quarterback. Maybe Tennessee, but I don't think they're going to go the route of a quarterback. I don't believe he's much of a game changer away from Ryan Tannehill. So I don't believe Tennessee goes to quarterback right now. So we could be looking at Malik Willis. We could be looking at Malik Willis slipping out of the first round altogether. So we do have the question. Who is the best available wide receiver left? You're going to have Christian Watson, a guy I've been hearing a lot about out of North Dakota State. You have Sky Moore out of Western Michigan. You have John Mechie III out of Alabama. You have two guys I've been hearing a lot about linked to the Bears, George Pickens out of Georgia and Alec Pierce from Cincinnati. But Christian Watson is the best wide receiver left. Christian Watson, followed by Sky Moore, followed by John Mechie III out of Alabama, and George Pickens and Alec Pierce are the 5 best wide receivers left. And I think the Bears need to go the route of a wide receiver. This is interesting. So we have the Dallas Cowboys is on the clock. And I don't think the Cowboys are going to go the route of a receiver, to be honest. The Dallas Cowboys can use somebody on the offensive line. They can use somebody on the defensive line with Reddy Gregory departing to go to the Denver Broncos. They can go inside linebacker here, which you still have available on the board. You have Jermaine Johnson available on the board, and this may be the route that they go to try to replace a guy like a Randy Gregory. So the Cincinnati kid has some good height. He's 6'4". He has some decent hands. That could be a route the Bears go, but I think he's going to fall. So the Cowboys pick is now in. And it's Roger Goodell headed to the board. So the Cowboys pick is now in. So who are they going to take? So we have here, it's showing the Cowboys draft room. I think the Cowboys should probably go. I think they probably might go Jermaine Johnson to get another edge rusher outside of DeMarcus Lawrence. Almost said Dexter Lawrence. DeMarcus Lawrence. They could use an offensive tackle, a tackle to replace Lyle Collins, who left the free agency to sign with the Cincinnati Bengals. They could probably use a receiver outside of Michael Gallup and CeeDee Lamb, but I don't think they're going to go another wide receiver in the first round. They might go later. So maybe Jermaine Johnson or Devin Lloyd could be a good pick here for the Dallas Cowboys. So they go offensive tackle with Tyler Smith out of Tulsa. Like I said, Lyle Collins departed in free agency to go with the Cincinnati Bengals. So they could have used the replacement for him. And Tyler Smith is the guy for the Dallas Cowboys in his first round. Smart pick. They can use more offensive line help. So I am good with this pick. He could probably slide at the right tackle position. Whether I almost said Flozo Adams, whether Tyron Smith stays healthy. So as the Cowboys select Tyler Smith out of Tulsa, Baltimore is on the clock. They need to go wide receiver here. They got to go wide receiver. They have to go wide receiver, and Christian Watson may be off the board. Christian Watson may be off the board with the trade of a guy like Hollywood Brown. Baltimore could possibly go wide receiver here. I would not be shocked if they go wide receiver. They've been needing wide receiver help, in my opinion, for a while. That wasn't a Jerry pick. His sons made that pick. It's a smart pick for him. Lyle Collins departed. They do need to beef up more of their offensive line. And the offensive line for the Cowboys has not been able to stay healthy the past couple of years. Tyron Smith has had his injury problems. Zach Martin has had some injury problems. They had Travis Frederick, but he's now gone. Doug Freeze now gone. Lyle Collins has had some injury problems as well. So they do need to shore up that offensive line to get back into the running game to help Zeke get back going. And Zeke was playing last year with a knee injury. So wide receiver could have been his position, but I don't think they were going to go wide receiver again. So Elijah Flanagan says the Bears are drafting tackles and a wide receiver. That's the best route for them to go. But at the end of the day, this has been a good draft. This has been a surprising draft in a lot of different ways, mainly during the trades. The trades have been the most surprising. So now we have, that was not a Jerry pick. Jerry pick would probably have been a receiver. Wasn't a Jerry pick. Jerry pick probably would have been a receiver, and I agree with you there. Philadelphia Eagles fans who are going to the Super Bowl. No, you're not. No, you're not. But this has been a really crazy, crazy draft. So Baltimore's on the clock. We're waiting for their pick to get in. Oh, yeah. It's been a long day, guys. It's been a long day. I'm praying this doesn't go into the 4-hour window. I'm praying this thing does not go into the 4-hour window. It looked like it could go. I'm hoping that, even though we're at the 24th pick now. I think it's the 24th pick we're at now. No, we're at the 25th pick now. So yeah, Baltimore on the clock, and this is probably where a position where the wide receiver can go. I don't think they're going to do a defense. They could possibly go defense, but after the trade of A.J. Brown and you don't have much to replace him. He says, bro, don't start that yawning now. Look, I've been up since 5:45 this morning. I've had a very long day, but I'm fighting through it right now. I am fighting through it. I hope this thing is over by 11 o'clock Central Time. I need to get some rest. Robert Griffin in these socks. I can't lie. I love socks myself, so I can agree with him with the sock thing. I love socks myself. I love crazy socks. He has some knuckle socks on. The Ravens pick is now in. I'm in the Chicago area. I am in the Chicago area. Suburbs of Chicago, to be exact. You're in Phoenix. Shout out to you. A lot of support. So the Ravens pick is now in. We are waiting to see what the Ravens are going to do. I think after this pick, I'm going to grab something else to drink right quick. My mouth is getting dry right now. I've been doing a lot of talking. So Goodell is up with the Baltimore Ravens pick, and they need to go wide receiver here. Oh, they go offensive lineman and Tyler Linderbaum, which they need help at the. They need help. So they do select them an offensive lineman here. They can need help in the interior of the offensive line. I'll be right back, guys. I need some nice drink. Ouch. So we have the Jets on the clock now. The Jets selected Garrett Wilson with their first pick of this evening's draft, which is wide receiver out of the Ohio State. I think the Jets have a lot of leads too. We're at the point where the Jets we're in the latter half of this draft. The Jets have already selected Sauce Gardner, and they've selected Garrett Wilson. So this is their third first-round pick. Where could the Jets go? They've selected their corner. They've selected their receiver. They could use an edge rusher. They could use somebody at the left, at the tackle position, outside, opposite side of Mekhi Becton. So they have a couple of routes they can go. I think they're going to go inside linebacker with this pick. Use somebody to help on your defense along with Sauce Gardner. Even though they do have C.J. Mosley there, I think C.J. Mosley's contract is going to be a little bit too much at some point. So I think they're going to end up going inside linebacker here. Inside linebacker is a spot of need for this New York Jets team. Defensive end could be a spot as well. You still have Jermaine Johnson on the board. So they could either go inside linebacker, probably with a guy like a Devin Lloyd, or you can go inside linebacker with Nakobe Dean out of Georgia, or they could probably go the defensive end route with Jermaine Johnson out of Florida State. So either of those three guys could be beneficial for this Jets team, which still needs some defensive help. You got one of your offensive weapons in Garrett Wilson. You got corner with Sauce Gardner. I think they could go defensive end here with Jermaine Johnson. The Jets pick is in. Goodell could be heading to the board very soon. The Jets pick is in. Jermaine Johnson is the pick. That is a very good pick for them. Get an edge rusher for your defense. That is a very good pick for the Jets. The Jets I think the Jets are the winners of this first round. The Jets are the winners of this first round. Last chance you got is drafted in the first round. This is a solid pick for the New York Jets. The Jets are the winners of this first round, in my opinion. Now the biggest question remains of the night. Is Malik Willis going to slip out of the first round? Is Malik Willis going to slip out of the first round? Let me know what you guys think in the chat. Is Malik Willis going to slip in the first round? At this point, it looks like he just might slip out. I don't see any team possibly outside of Carolina and maybe Seattle to try to slip back in the first round and get him. But I think he's going to slip out of the first round. He says it looks like it. Because the draft, you think about it right now, at the points we have remaining in this draft with the teams left with picks, you have Jacksonville that's on the clock now. They just drafted Trevor Lawrence. Green Bay has Aaron Rodgers and drafted Jordan Love as a backup. The Patriots have Mac Jones, and they're not looking for a future quarterback. The Chiefs have Mahomes. The Bengals have, of course, Joe Burrow. The Vikings just extended Kirk Cousins, but I still don't think they're going to go the route towards a quarterback right now. So you go at this point now, I just do not believe Malik Willis is going to get selected in this first round. I still think he's the quarterback that has the biggest potential in this draft. He says Seattle might jump from 40 to 32. If Willis falls that far, keyword might. I think he is. Because the teams right now, I don't think nobody's going to make a trade up. Because even though Malik Willis, I think, has the highest potential as far as the quarterbacks go in this draft, I don't still think they're going to reach superstar potential. But we are in such of a quarterback-driven league. If somebody believes in them, they're going to move up. And he says Kenny Pickett could turn out to be better. You never know. I believe, hey, if he does, I could be wrong, and I'll admit when I'm wrong. But I just think Malik Willis is going to have the better career than Kenny Pickett. Okay, so we have the Jaguars on the clock, and their pick is now in. Green Bay is coming up again. They did have the Raiders pick. So the Jaguars, I think they might go inside linebacker. Miles Jack is no longer there. I think he's signed with Pittsburgh, if I not believe. So I think inside linebacker could be a spot where the Jaguars could go in this player. Who are the best wide receivers available right now? You still have Christian Wilson, Christian Watson, Sky Moore, John Mechie, George Pickens, and Alec Pierce. And I think the Bears have been linked to Christian Watson for quite some time now. If Justin Fields turns out to be as good as he go, when he turns, I'm reading this wrong. If Justin Fields turns to be good, he's the GOAT, because if you break the Ohio State and Chicago Bears quarterback curse, you're the GOAT. Hey, I made videos on both potential things of Ohio State quarterbacks as well as Chicago Bear quarterbacks. So I've made videos on both of those subjects. So I think he can. The Jaguars pick is in, so we're waiting on the Jaguars pick to be announced. The Jaguars do have Doug Peterson as their head coach. It just reminded me of that. So Roger Goodell is heading towards the podium now to announce the Jaguars pick. Inside linebacker was a spot where I think they needed to go, and they get Devin Lloyd out of Utah. A good pick for them. This is a good pick for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Get an inside linebacker to help replace the departed Miles Jack. So this is a good pick. The Green Bay Packers pick is now in already. Green Bay, please don't take Christian. I hope they don't either. The Jags draft class is dreadful. I do not believe that. Who have the Jaguars taken to be sure? They drafted Trayvon Walker and they drafted Devin Lloyd. Solid pieces that can both help with their defense. So I'm not going to say dreadful. Which wide receiver do you want? I've heard the most about Alec Pierce out of Cincy and Christian Watson out of North Dakota State. I think both of those guys will be good options for the Bears, so I will go with those two. The Packers pick is now in. They're talking about Devin Lloyd being a good pick for the Jaguars. I believe so. So what pick are we at? The 28th pick. So we have 4 picks remaining after this one. It's still the biggest question remain is Malik Willis going to slip out of the first round? So we have. Are we going to have Collision and Goodell walking towards a predict? Malik Willis. I think that's the biggest conversation right now. Is Malik Willis going to slip out of the first round? At this point, it's looking like he is, especially when you look at the rest of this draft board. You have the Green Bay Packers picking now, and the Green Bay Packers are on the board, and the Packers pick is in, and Roger Goodell is on the podium right now. I'm hoping the Green Bay doesn't take Christian Watson. Okay, as we wait, they were doing a Man of the Year presentation thing. Just announced the pick already. So the Packers pick is now in. Wow, they go. Wow, they go defensive tackle. So they go back to back defensive picks. When wide receiver is the biggest question on this football team. They beef up this defense, but you still don't have any weapons to complement anybody. To complement Aaron Rodgers, you don't have any weapons. Wow, this is shocking. What is it with this Packers team against first-round wide receivers? What is it? So Devontae Wyatt ends up being the Packers pick. I am shocked. I am shocked they have not gone wide receiver. So we have 3 more picks after the Patriots pick, and the Patriots pick is now in. I'm still shocked Green Bay didn't go wide receiver. That is a shock to me. Thank you, Green Bay. You are absolutely right. Thank you. They can never get nothing right. Aaron has to be livid. They went defense again. I don't understand it. I just don't understand it. Wide receiver right now is the biggest hole for the Green Bay Packers football team. And for them to not go wide receiver right now, for the Green Bay Packers to sit there with wide receiver as one of their biggest needs in this draft, biggest needs coming into this draft, and they do not go wide receiver, it is absolutely mind-boggling. Because at this point, the wide receiver room looks like now Allen Lazard is your number one wide receiver. Allen Lazard is the Packers' number one wide receiver right now. And that ain't it. Aaron is going to demand a trade. I just don't understand what the Packers are doing. They get rid of Devontae Adams. They let Marquez Valdez-Scantling walk. They finna ask us for Mooney. Not even a chance. The Bears wouldn't even do it. So we look at the Green Bay Packer depth chart now at wide receiver. You have Allen Lazard, not a number one. You have Sammy Watkins, can't stay healthy. Randall Cobb is getting older. You have young Amari Rodgers. Then outside of that, you have not much. So literally this offense is going to be Aaron Rodgers or bust. He says, do they have Odell in their back pocket or something? And that is what it's looking like now. Amari Young, thanks for tuning in. What are the Titans doing? Well, I don't know. They did trade A.J. Brown, which it's been hinted that a trade could possibly happen. And I think that's all had to do with contract. That all has to do with contracts, especially with the way that Deebo Samuel is handling his, and he has the same agent as A.J. Brown. So I think that has something to do with that. A.J. Brown wanting his money, which he just got paid 4 years, $100 million with $57 million guaranteed. We still have Deebo Samuel's lingering deal. You still have DK Metcalf's lingering deal. So I think the first of the domino has failed. So you have a guy like A.J. Brown getting that type of money. Deebo Samuel is going to expect that type of a money deal as well. And I don't think San Francisco is going to pay it to him. To be honest, I don't think he's worth 25. I don't think A.J. Brown is worth 25, honestly, either. I think, if anything, Deebo has more value than A.J. Brown. And as good as DK is, I don't think DK deserves 25 either. It's just the track record for either all three of these guys. They're not at the top levels of a Stephon Diggs. They're not at the Tyreek Hills. They're not at the Devontae Adams. So for them to expect that type of a money deal, I don't think it's something that is realistic. I'm surprised A.J. Brown got that type of a money deal from the Eagles, but even with the Eagles drafting Devontae Smith last year, it's just I just think that's a mind-boggling move for the Eagles to make. I think they took it a little bit of a gamble, if you want to be asked me, but they have needed receiver help for quite some time. So now we have the Patriots and we have Roger Goodell standing at the podium. So the Patriots select Cole Strange, a guard from Chattanooga, a player I've never heard of. I am not going to lie. I've never heard of him. Hey, it's Bill Belichick, so he can turn that guy into a very good player. So I never heard of this guy. I'm not going to lie. I've never heard of him. I'm not the smartest man in the room. So they get something else to beef up their offensive line after trading Shaq Mason to Tampa. which that was a shock move in itself. But it's going to be 49 states because Aaron Rodgers is going to explode Wisconsin. Are there any good right tackles in mind for you? The Bears don't. I don't think the Bears draft a tackle with Brom. Let's see what the Chiefs. The Chiefs are picking. So the Chiefs get them a pass rusher and George Kalafdis. Now I did watch a little bit of Kalafdis. I can't pronounce that name for nothing. Kalafdis at Purdue when he was going up against Ohio State. He's a wrecking crew. He can wreck a game. He can wreck a game. So I think the Chiefs need pass rush help. They need help. I think the Chiefs' main need is defense. They get another pass rusher and a guy like Kalafdis. So that is a good pick for the Kansas City Chiefs, in my opinion. That is a good pick for them. So now we are at the second to last pick in this first round, and the question lays. I believe the Malik Willis is going to sleep out of this first round. Malik Willis is going to slip out of this first round. I just believe so. Malik Willis is a guy that is slipping out of this first round right now. I didn't want to see it because I think Malik Willis has the highest ceiling of the quarterbacks in this draft, but he is going to slip out of this first round. So Cincinnati, they could go corner here. Corner is a position they could go. Offensive line, maybe. But I think they're going to go somewhere on the defensive side of the ball. Maybe somebody in the interior presence. Maybe somebody at the linebacker spot. But I think they go defense here. I think a corner or a defensive tackle could be the better route for Cincinnati. They addressed a lot of their offensive line woes in free agency. And their offense, I think, is okay. The offense is straight. Maybe an interior lineman, maybe. But I think the Bengals should go defense in this pick. Maybe corner, maybe inside linebacker. Could be moves for them to make. Since he has Joe, Minnesota gave Kirk that contract, and those are the last two picks. Malik Willis is going to slip. What quarterbacks have been drafted so far? Only Kenny Pickett. Kenny was drafted by the Steelers. That is all, yes. Kenny Pickett is the only quarterback that's been drafted. And he could be the only first-round quarterback this year. Quarterback is just not it's not a thing this year. I thought Pittsburgh might have taken Malik Willis myself. I think the only two teams that could possibly trade back into this pick, Seattle and possibly Carolina. Because at this point, Seattle, Drew Lock is not the guy. And then you have Carolina, Sam Darnold isn't it either. But I think both of those teams could be in positions where they might play right away, where Malik might play right away. And I don't think Malik is a quarterback that needs to play right away. Kenny Pickett, I think maybe Kenny Pickett is more of a person that doesn't need to play right away. Maybe if Malik plays right away, I still believe he has more potential. But Bailey's app. Who is Bailey Zapp? Never heard that name before. Western Kentucky quarterback? Okay. Is that the one that threw for all those? He threw for a bunch of yards last year. This could be finishing up before 11 o'clock. Thank God. Thank God. Because I did not want this to go into a fourth hour. I am exhausted. I could have stayed up and did weather, but I need some rest. I've got a long day ahead of me tomorrow. So I'll let you guys know weather will be posted late tomorrow again. Then the next episode of weather will be posted late. Just to give you guys a heads up and a warning about that. Weather will be up late. I wish. That would be nice, but I wish. That's not going to happen. I wish. Olave to the Bears, that would be a match made in heaven for me and Justin Fields. So we have 2 picks left. The Bengals pick is now in. And I don't know where the Bengals, I think, is probably going somewhere on defense. And Minnesota, I think Minnesota's probably going to go defense as well. So Malik Willis is going to slip out of this first round unless Seattle or Carolina makes a trade back. This is going to be interesting. What team is going to take a chance on Malik Willis? And there hasn't been a single running back taken in his first round, which is, I think, is the running back position has kind of been devalued as far as first round picks. We have not seen a running back taken in this first round. That will cost so much. Aaron is growing gray hairs. I can believe that. I'm currently envisioning Fields throwing to Watson. My goodness, that would be nice. I can believe you. I really think the Bears are going to go Watson. If he falls to them at 39, that is a position that the Bears need. And like I said, the impending probably suspension, release, or something like that with Byron Pringle, the Bears wide receiver depth got cut if something happens to Pringle after the Byron Pringle arrest. So that could be a possibility. So the Bengals pick is in. Let's see. Is Goodell heading towards the podium? Yes, he is. So they go corner, they go safety, they go Daxton Hill from that team up north, which is Michigan. Which secondary is something that the Bengals could use, especially watching how that Super Bowl went. So safety for them is a very good pick for them. And now the clock ticks. Minnesota has a 32nd overall pick, and Minnesota pick is in. So it is official. It is official. Malik Willis is slipped out of the first round. Malik Willis has slipped out of the first round. It is official. Unless Minnesota takes him here, Malik Willis has slipped out the first round. So we've only this has been a crazy draft with two big wide receiver trades with A.J. Brown and Hollywood Brown. You have a big trade with the Saints moving up to take Chris Olave. You have the Ravens moving back, and they still need wide receiver help. I don't know where they're going to get one from. I don't know where we're going to get a big wide receiver from. Minnesota's pick is in. They could possibly select Malik Willis. Maybe. Says, hold on, bro. Minnesota might have some ideas. They just might. They just might. They just might. I don't know where Minnesota goes. They could possibly go defense as well. But I think Minnesota's probably going to end up going defense. If they select Malik Willis here, I will be kind of shocked. I honestly will be shocked. But they do have a new front office and a new regime, so they could be going with a quarterback that they like. So Minnesota has some ideas. But I just don't think they're going to go with a quarterback with the roster that could, I'm not going to say make the playoff. They could possibly make a playoff run, especially with Jordan Jefferson and Adam Thielen healthy. Malik is Malik Willis at the draft right now. Malik Willis is currently at the draft right now. So that will be a bummer if he's not selected at number 32 overall. And he's not selected in the first round at all. Oh. So I am happy this is not going to go to 11 o'clock. Because 11 o'clock is my deadline. I'm actually starting to really feel some sleepiness kick in. Minnesota pick is in. We are at the last pick of this first round. Goodell is at the podium. This is his last pick. They select Lewis Seen, safety out of Georgia, so it is official. Malik Willis is falling out of the first round. That is surprising. Even though I've always been one that said this quarterback class is not one to be. It's not one. Do you watch the Windy City Productions? Yes, I do. Actually, he's a very good guy. I've had some conversations with him. He's a very good guy. Willis really slipped. He did. Willis really slipped. So Malik Willis has slipped out of the first round. So we're going to look a little bit at the second round picks before I close this stream. A little bit at the second round picks and possible places where he can go. Tampa Bay selected Kyle Trask in last year's draft. He's not going to go there. Minnesota picks again at 34 overall, maybe. The Titans selected at 35th overall, maybe. The Giants at 36th overall. The Texans at 37. The Jets at 38 or not. The Bears at 39 or not. He could possibly go as far as I think Seattle at 40th overall. I think that is the furthest Malik Willis will slip. That would be the furthest Malik Willis slips, in my opinion. That'd be the furthest he slips to 40th overall at Seattle. I just believe that at some point Seattle was going to make a trade. But if you can get a quarterback later in the rounds, hey, I say go for it. But I think that might be the biggest surprise to me out of this round. That and all of the trades, of course. But as far as draft picks go, the Ravens not selecting a wide receiver. Let me make sure I'm right on that. Yeah, the Ravens not selecting a wide receiver. And the Malik Willis fallout. So the winners of this draft, I believe, is the Jets, and I believe it's the Saints. Not for just the two Ohio State guys. But the winners of this draft, I believe, are the Jets because I think they hit on all three of their first-round picks, in my opinion. You get a pass rusher. You get a pass rusher in Jermaine Johnson. You get a potential lockdown corner in Sauce Gardner. And you get another weapon to pair with Zach Wilson and Garrett Wilson, which is the Wilson combination. The losers of this draft, I think, is the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens are losers in this draft. Not Kyle Hamilton is a solid pick. I think he fits with what the Ravens do on defense or the potential to do on defense. Linderbaum could be a solid pick, but to trade Hollywood Brown and to not select the wide receiver, which leaves an even bigger hole at your wide receiver spot when you don't have a lot of wide receiver weapons to surround Lamar Jackson with already. Rashad Bateman is solid, and Devin Duvernay is more of a special teams weapon. Mark Andrews is going to be more of a weapon in his offense. I just do not believe the reason behind trading Marquise Brown. I don't understand it. I just don't understand it when you're devoid of big plays on your offense already. Your running game is basically your offense. Your passing game has suffered because I still don't believe Lamar Jackson has taken that very next step in his passing progression, even though he's a very good passer, but I think he still needs room to improve. And then on top of that, you trade his biggest weapon in Hollywood Brown, and you don't get no replacement for him. And so I just believe that the Ravens lose tonight because you don't have a lot of wide receiver weapons. So you're going to put more of the heavy load on Mark Andrews if you do not address the wide receiver position at this point. So the winners are the Jets because I think they hit on all their picks. They really drafted a lot of positions they needed. They needed a corner. They needed some pass rushing help, and they needed some weapons to go along with Zach Wilson. The losers are the Baltimore Ravens because of the Hollywood Brown trade, and then you don't draft a replacement for him at this point. Now, they still could draft a replacement for him in later rounds, but at this point, it's not it. But the first round of this draft is concluded. I've had a blast streaming. I really don't stream often. I am not one that really streams often on this channel, but this may be a possible birth of me streaming more often on this channel. I've had a lot of fun. And if you guys haven't liked it, make sure you guys click the like button. Make sure you guys click the subscribe button. I've really had a very good time tonight. I am really tired right now. I've been up since 5:45 this morning. Thank you all the guys for tuning in. Mainly Bleak Ox, thank you for tuning in. Amari Young, thank you for tuning in. Anthony Canchola, thank you for tuning in. But I am APW Sports. I am signing out. Make sure you guys have a blessed and a great rest of your day, the rest of your night. I will see you guys tomorrow for tomorrow's episode of Weddle. And before I sign out, I am going to be streaming this week's episode of Chicago Bears Weekly. This week's episode of Chicago Bears Weekly will be streamed at noon Central Time on Sunday. I will be streaming this week's episode of Chicago Bears Weekly, which will be a Bears draft class recap. We know the Bears didn't have a first round pick tonight, but I will be doing a Bears draft class recap on Sunday at noon Central Standard Time for this week's episode of Chicago Bears Weekly. But now that I'm at that, I will see you guys tomorrow for the episode of Weddle. I hope you guys watch today's episode of Weddle, and I will catch you guys later. Make sure you guys stay safe. Have a blessed and great rest of your night. See you guys tomorrow for an episode of Weddle. Thanks for tuning in. I am going to go get me some much needed rest. Peace.